change, huh? Hello, what are you doing up this hour? That gun. What are you going to do with that gun? Now put that gun down. Don't shoot. Don't. Oh. Oh. The scorpion. The scorpion.
And that's how my brother died, Inspector. I see. I thought when I found this record on his dictaphone that it might contain some clues to his murder. It doesn't tell us a thing.
Don't be so sure, Mr. Spencer.
What do you mean?
Well, your brother mentioned the word scorpion. That might mean something.
I hope so.
By the way, Mr. Spencer, what was your brother dictating when he was killed?
He was finishing up his new play.
I see. Well, I guess I've seen enough in here.
Would you like to meet the others?
Yes, I would.
They're in the library. Right through this door, Inspector. Boys, I want you to meet Inspector Harris. Inspector, this is Roger DeHaven.
How do you do, Inspector?
This is Professor Marco.
How do you do, Inspector?
Professor?
Well, I'm not the real professor. That is just my professional name. You see, I'm an astrologer. I tell fortunes by the stars.
Why are you all here?
Well, you see, Inspector, Professor Marco, Roger DeHaven, my brother, and I are all members of the same club.
And it so happens that all of us have birthdays in the same week, so each year we all come up here and celebrate.
Does the word scorpion mean anything to any of you?
Scorpion? No, it doesn't mean anything to me.
Why do you ask, Inspector?
Well, you see, before Spencer died, he was dictating a scene for his new play over the dictaphone. He was interrupted when someone came in and shot him. With his dying breath, he repeated the word scorpion several times.
Say, Inspector, isn't the scorpion a sign of death?
Yes, but I don't think he meant that. No, I think he was trying to give us a clue as to the identity of his murderer. Of course. Why didn't I think of it before?
What do you mean, Inspector?
I know what your brother was trying to say when he referred to the scorpion.
You do?
Yes. And I'm arresting you, Professor Marco, for the murder of Howard Spencer.
How does the inspector know that Professor Marco is the murderer? We'll give you the solution in just a moment, but first... And now, back to our story.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, Professor Marco has confessed to his crime. Spencer's reference to a scorpion puzzled me for a while. But then I realized that a scorpion is also a sign of the zodiac. But that didn't mean anything either, since it refers to people born in November. And all the people concerned in this case had their birthdays this week. Then I concluded that Spencer was referring to the zodiac as a whole. And was there anyone in this case who could be associated with the zodiac? Yes, Professor Marco, the astrologer, who tells fortunes by the stars.
Another 5-minute mystery. Ladies and gentlemen of the masquerade, I address you as master of the revels. You have been asked to come here disguised in the roles you have all secretly longed for these many years. You are all strangers to one another, your identity known only to yourselves. You will remain within your secret selves till midnight, when you shall unmask and reveal your true selves. But for 3 hours, the mystery of the unknown is yours. I see all manner of people tonight. There is Misto, the magician, a gypsy, a peasant, a statesman, a clown such as myself. And there is Cinderella, who at midnight will find that dreams must end. But till midnight, give yourselves to the music, the wine, and the dancing. And there you have it. The magic of a sorcerer who jumped from apprentice to master in 10 easy lessons.
Oh, show us another, Misto.
Oh, I do not have the time. It is nearly midnight.
Can magicians stop time?
Not in the society I belong to.
Just one more, Misto. We've hardly seen you all night.
I've been walking the air searching for my inspiration.
Misto, come here quickly.
Forgive me, good people. The master of the rebels calls. What is it?
I was just walking in the garden, getting some air, and guess what I found?
How should I know? I'm only a magician.
The girl disguised as Cinderella. She's dead.
What?
What'll we do?
Look, it's almost midnight. Lock the body in a room until I get everyone to unmask. Don't let anyone suspect anything. Then we'll call the police.
Okay, I'll be right back.
It is almost midnight. Prepare to unmask.
Wonderful.
And as you reveal your real selves to one another, the royal prince will become a beggar, the peasant a wealthy man, the gypsy a statesman, the clown a respected philosopher, and Cinderella, poor Cinderella, her horse-drawn coach to become a pumpkin, the birthmark of poverty to show beneath her tired eyes. Midnight! Unmask! I, Misto the magician, stand revealed. Yes, revealed as a murderer.
Oh,
How does the clown know that Misto the magician is the murderer of the woman masquerading as Cinderella? In just a moment we'll know, but first... And now, back to our story, The Masquerade. Are you out of your mind?
No, but you must have been, to let the proof of your guilt slip out.
You'd have a good case if you could prove it.
Why did you say birthmark of her poverty beneath her tired eyes? Why such a rich metaphor for Cinderella and a meager one for the others?
She interested me.
To the extent that you knew there was a birthmark beneath her right eye. You didn't know who she was. No one did. She remained masked all evening, yet you knew what lay beneath that mask. Don't tell me that was coincidence. You saw her unmasked.
Yes. Yes, I didn't mean to. It all happened so suddenly.
You should have perfected a disappearing act, friend. It would have stood you in good stead right now.
Another 5-minute mystery.
Hello?
Mr. Barron, this is Ed Chavers.
Hello, Constable.
I've got some mighty unpleasant news for you, Mr. Barron. Carter Hogue, the high school principal, has been murdered.
What?
I'll have to ask you to come down to the office for a few minutes. I'd like to ask you some questions.
Of course, Constable. I'll be right over. Constable, this is all a tremendous shock to me. Not only was Carter Hogue my colleague at the school, but one of my best friends as well.
I know, Mr. Byrne. It's been a shock to us all.
How did it happen?
As far as I know, someone crept in through the window of Hogue's house and struck him over the head as he sat in his study.
Any clues?
Not a one. What I wanted to ask you was if you have any idea as to who could have had a motive for killing him.
The only thing I can think of is the threat made by Darrell Lewis's father when he found out that Carter had hit his son.
You heard about that. It's bad business hitting that boy.
I was there when it happened. The boy provoked the incident by his surly behavior, but it was unfortunate that Carter lost his temper.
Well, that's the only clue I have, so I called Mr. Lewis on the phone right after you. You ought to be here any minute.
This all seems like a horrible dream, Constable. You can count on me to help in any way I can.
Thank you, Mr. Barron. I will. Come in.
Good evening, Constable. I'm Darrell Lewis's father.
Come in, please. Any idea why I sent for you?
A little. You must have heard about the threat I made to the principal when I found out he hit my kid.
That was a dangerous thing to say.
I lost my head. Hogue had no right to lay a hand on my kid.
Mr. Lewis, Carter Hogue is dead. Murdered.
Dead? Now, see here. I know what you're thinking, and you're dead wrong. I'm innocent.
You're protesting your innocence rather loudly, Mr. Lewis.
Now, look here, Mr. Barron. I'm not the polished gentleman you are, but I can still protect the rights.
Doesn't look good for you, my friend. When you threaten to kill a man and then 2 days later he's murdered, it's more than coincidence.
You better close your mouth, teacher, or I'll do it for you.
Perhaps I'd better. I don't want to have you sneaking up on me and smashing in my skull with a bookend like you did to poor Carter Hogue.
Why, you dirty...
Easy there, Mr. Lewis, easy. And you stop this cross-examining, Barron. There'll be plenty of time for it in the courtroom at your trial.
What?
You killed Carter Hogue, and I can prove it.
How does Constable Ed Chavers know that Sam Barron is the murderer of Carter Hogue? In just a moment, we'll know, but first... And now, back to our story.
Unfortunately for you, Mr. Barron, in your attempt to pin the murder on Mr. Lewis here, you became too dramatic in describing the scene and the action. How did you know that Hogue had been struck with a bookend? I didn't tell you, and you hadn't seen the body. Only the man who committed the murder could have known what the weapon was. You protested Mr. Lewis's guilt too loudly, Mr. Barron. You only proved him innocent.